Okay, let's be real. A 10-hour flight can feel like an absolute eternity. So today, we're going to break down exactly what that experience is like on a really key route connecting North America and Europe. KLM's Dreamliner service from Vancouver all the way to Amsterdam. So what actually makes a long-haul flight good? Is it the seats, the food, the airports? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to look at every single step of this journey from the moment you get to the airport to the second you land to see if it really lives up to the hype. All right, first things first, the route and, what it's going to cost you. This isn't just any old flight. It's a major connection between two continents, and it's flown by KLM on one of the most modern jets in the sky today. And this is a serious journey. We're talking almost 7,700 kilometers, flying overnight for 9, maybe 10 hours on a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. It's a real test of endurance, not just for the plane, but for everyone on board. So what's a ticket going to set you back? Well, prices obviously change with the seasons, but for a round trip in economy, you're typically looking at somewhere between $750 and $1,050. Premium economy, about double that. And then business class, well, that's a whole different ballgame, starting around $3,500. But here's the key thing to know. Even though it's not exactly a budget flight, KLM's prices are actually really competitive when you stack them up against other big European airlines flying this same route. So right from the get-go, you're looking at pretty solid value. Okay, let's get into the journey itself. A great flight experience often kicks off with a great airport. So let's start on the ground at Vancouver International. Vancouver's airport, YVR, it's widely considered one of the best in North America, and for good reason. It's super passenger-friendly, has great shopping, cool local food spots, and these beautiful art installations. On top of all that, security is usually a breeze, and the whole place just feels calm. It's organized. For that calm, organized, and genuinely pleasant vibe, the departure experience gets a huge 9 out of 10. Honestly, it's hard to imagine a better way to start a super long trip. So next up is boarding. KLM uses a pretty standard group system, which is fine. It's straightforward. The only real challenge, you're trying to get almost 300 people onto one airplane, so even the most efficient system is going to take a little while. And that's reflected in the score, a solid 8 out of 10. The process works, it's organized, but it's just never going to be lightning fast with that many people. All right, we are on the plane. This is the main event, right? What is it actually like to spend 10 hours inside this KLM Dreamliner? The plane itself is a huge part of the story. The Dreamliner was literally built for long-haul comfort. It keeps the cabin pressure lower and the humidity higher. Now, that might sound all technical, but what it really means is you arrive feeling less like a dried-out raisin. The seat itself has all the standard stuff, but the environment is a huge upgrade. But, and this is a big but, here's the trade-off. For all the cool things the Dreamliner's atmosphere does, the actual physical space is, it's still standard economy. And as one review points out, that legroom can start to feel pretty tight about halfway through a 10-hour flight. And that brings the seat comfort score to a 7.8 out of 10. That's our lowest rating so far, and it's almost entirely because of that cramped feeling you get deep into the flight. So what about the food? Well, the service is pretty structured. You get a full dinner not too long after takeoff, which is great for settling in for the night. And then, just before you land in Amsterdam, they serve a light breakfast. Plus, drinks are always available. For that, the meal service gets a respectable 8 out of 10. Look, for economy class, the quality is actually pretty good. It's solid, reliable airline food that does the job. It's not gourmet, but you're not expecting it to be. Now, one of the real highlights is the entertainment, for sure. KLM's system on the Dreamliner is totally modern and just packed with stuff. We're talking hundreds of movies, TV shows, music, you name it. And the best part? The screen actually works well. It's responsive and super easy to use. Because it's such a strong offering, the entertainment system scores an impressive 8.6 out of 10. That makes it one of the best parts of the whole experience. And on a flight this long, trust me, that is a massive, massive plus. So after 10 long hours, we've finally touched down in Europe. It's time for the final phase. What's it like arriving at Amsterdam Schiphol? And what's our overall verdict? Arriving at Schiphol is another huge win. I mean, it's a massive airport, one of Europe's biggest, but it's famous for being incredibly efficient. Immigration is usually smooth, and its absolute best feature is the train station that's right under the terminal. You can be in downtown Amsterdam in 15 minutes. It's amazing. That incredible convenience and efficiency earned Schiphol the highest score of the entire trip, a whopping 9.1 out of 10. It just goes to show how a great arrival airport can completely change how you feel at the end of a long, tiring trip. Okay, let's boil this whole thing down. The big highlights? You've got the modern Dreamliner plane, that fantastic entertainment system, and 2 really excellent airports on both ends of the journey. The weak spots? The legroom in economy feels tight, and boarding can be a bit of a slow-moving process. When you look at the full scorecard, you can see a really clear pattern, right? The whole journey is bookended by these incredibly high scores for the airports. The only real dip in the whole experience is that seat comfort rating. And all of that brings us to our final score. For the entire journey, from start to finish, we're giving it an 8.4 out of 10. That is a really strong, very reliable performance for a major flight across the Atlantic. Which leaves us with one last thought. When you put together a modern, comfortable airplane with 2 of the world's most efficient airports, do you end up with one of the absolute smoothest ways to get across the Atlantic? Well, based on this experience, the answer seems to be a pretty resounding yes.